All right. I think we are doing it. I think we are going live here. Awesome. Good. Let me get this tweeted out for everybody so everybody could join in. There. Should be good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's see if I got that in there correctly. Sometimes I don't have the link in there. Okay, good. All right, let me get this going here. Give me 1 second. It takes a little extra minute here to get organized with the awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. It is today is September 4th, 2019. And we're going to be continuing our discussion here on trading like Livermore. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. So let me get this kind of going here. 1 second. Let me just before we get started, real quick, let me review the important stuff here. So trading like Livermore, let's just kind of get through this. So everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only. Nothing should be taken as investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer as we get going and get ready. Let me pull the controls up for today. Let's see. Show all windows. This looks like it right here. Okay. So let me get that on the radar. Good, good, good. So it should be coming through shortly here, hopefully. 1 second here. There it is. Okay, good. All right, so here we go. So just wanted to kind of update you again. I'm still kind of getting used to using Zoom here. Eventually, I don't know what's been going on with the internet and the data use. Maybe it's the upgrade of Thinkorswim, but it's using so much data that it's been kind of like hogging the system. It's been kind of crashing the broadcaster, which is really weird. We've been doing this for almost a year now, and it's only been starting to do that. So I'm using Zoom right now. It seems to be pretty decent quality. There's about a 6-second lag between my talking right now and you're hearing it, but it's all good. It's all good. So what we're seeing here with the SPX so far, this is welcome to September. We're day 2 in September, and things finally feels like forever started to get a little more interesting. Yesterday was so boring after the Labor Day vacation. It was just it was such a choppy day yesterday. There were some trades to be made yesterday, but it was rough. Today we had a lot more setups today, but basically up 31 points today. A lot of that was from a gap up yesterday. The weekly chart, you can see they're very compressed right now. Right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks that are all in this kind of compressed range, right? And we almost had a double inside week last week on the SPX. We crossed over just a little bit to the upside here last week, so it didn't go double inside, but we're still inside week right now. But it's a really, really strong hammer right there. So we'll see. It's holding this mid-Bollinger Band on the weekly chart. We'll see if that gets some follow through the upside. Looks like we have a little smiley face kind of going on here, almost like a little kitty cat or something like that. We have like 2 eyes here, a little nose, like with whiskers, right? The little whiskers trend line, and then the little smiley face. But anyway, in all seriousness, though, big gap up today on the SPX. We're in the middle of the cloud, and we're kind of working our, hopefully, going to be working our way out of the cloud. That did leave a gap below. Right, and of course we have this, this whole mess up here, right? We've got a closing gap right here from the other day, or from the, from like 5 weeks ago, right? So from that big move down, it's really interesting, right? This move down that we had was really, really sharp, right? So this guy, when you see it move down like this, like really, really fast, right? And you're not used to that in a while, even though we had, kind of this going right here, right? With this right here, right? This one, for whatever reason, maybe because we were at all-time highs, even though those were all-time highs at one point. These were, this is like recession is starting right now. So, what we're doing right now is hard to say. I mean, could we be bear flagging right now for a bigger move down? Possibly. But right now we're getting kind of these like consolidated moves, and then, maybe some bigger moves. So we'll see. The range today was 16 points, which is pretty decent range. So it gave, some, pretty decent move today. So we'll see. We'll see if we get more consolidation this week. It seems like there's like some progress happening, right? We gapped up today. Like, there's a little, some peace going on, like in Hong Kong after the demonstrations and all that stuff. It sounds like maybe there's some progress going on. So we'll see. We'll see if this continues to move up and maybe gets us out of the cloud here on the daily chart. So to be seen. Let's take a look at the, I normally look at this last, but let's take a look at this now. This is the daily chart that we've been looking at. Here's our gold channel right here that we've been following for a long time, right? Up, down, right, back down here, right? As we broke down at the channel, we had a nice Christmas reversal back here, trend line, back into the channel, pitchfork median line, back up to the upper midpoint line, back down on the median line, through the reaction line, up through the resistance zone, and then back up to the top of the channel. Right now we're kind of chopping around here at this this median line, and we're back in the resistance zone. So really, honestly, this is 1, 2, 3 here. We really need to push out of this to really, kind of get going. Otherwise, if we test this median the median line of the pitchfork one more time, right, we might start heading down to the bottom of the channel. So that's kind of scary, right? So that's a big drop below. It's nowhere close to the December lows, but it's still a pretty big drop back down to like 2,700. So we have to keep that in mind. The 5-minute chart, these are the levels that we tweet out to our subscribers before every market day. I just got a note here from CNBC. Futures jump as China and U.S. agree to meet in October for trade negotiations. So we'll see how that pans out tomorrow, right? But who knows? Anything could happen, right? Anything would happen, right? So there could be a tweet in the morning that could change the whole thing, right? Goodness gracious, when did the market start relying on tweets? But anyway, these are some key levels right here, right? So look at that big gap up this morning, right? It looks really big from here, right? Jumped all the way up to fill prior closing gap, right? Hit some key levels right here, dropped down to a volumetric level, found some support there, inside bar, worked its way up here, right? Then kind of worked its way up, tested. Oh, got to the cloud there, whoa, all the way up to R3. So nice move there on that. So that's where we're at in the market. So let me just take a quick glance at the futures here. Yep, they're up like SMDC4. I can see in the corner of my eyes, they're up 23, but who cares, right? It's all fine. So anyway, good stuff. All right, well, let's take a look. Let's continue this discussion on our friend, Mr. Livermore. Give me 1 second. Let me pull that up right here again. Okay. Switch over to this. Make sure it's coming through okay. Just let me make sure. I just have to make sure it's kind of coming through the stream here first. There it is. Okay, good. All right, so this is where we left off. So we started out the discussion on introduction to Jesse Livermore, right, and also when stocks act right, right? So we'll review that again today a little bit. We kind of went through his background, talked about when stocks acts right. We talked about the man from the mountains, right? Being able to step away from the market, let it do its thing, right? If things start getting weird, then you can get out, right? That type of thing. So pretty cool stuff. Then yesterday we talked about following the leaders, right? Picking sectors, maybe 4 sectors max, following those and just picking the top 2 out of those. Follow the leaders, the ones that are going to move, right? So we talked about that yesterday. We also kind of mentioned, really quick, money management advice here, or money management guidance that, Jesse Livermore, had, and how important it is to actually take the money out of your trading account, take your profits out and put them in the bank, right? And even go as far as go ahead and sit with them in the bank. No, but, take them out of the bank and also, take them out of the ATM, do something with them, pay bills, right? Give them to a loved one, give them to charity, right? Stuff like that, help people with it. So, it's real stuff in there. So take it out. It's yours. You earned it, right? That's the thing. So today we're going to continue the discussion. We're going to talk about one of his trading methods here. Now, he really didn't get into too much detail. And in his book, How to Trade in Stocks, at the end of it, he does get into a description of how to do it. And he actually didn't use charts in the typical way. He used like a charting system, which is more like a graph, and he wrote down the prices. And it was really important to him, he would basically put those on a level where you could eventually illustrate them out. And but it wasn't like how we typically look at charts, right? But there were key levels for him. So let's kind of take a look at what the key levels were, and that's the pivotal point right here. Okay, so pivotal points. So here's a couple notes from Mr. Livermore. So whenever I had the patience to wait for the market to arrive at what I call a pivotal point before I started to trade, I've always made money in my operations. So obviously this is really important, right? So if you could find a pivotal point, then if he waited for that to go, then he would trade. Okay. So I never benefited much from a move if I did not get in at somewhere near the beginning of the move. So unlike a lot of people, he was a top picker, right, and a bottom picker. A lot of people say it's like, oh, I can't, you'll go broke like picking tops and picking bottoms. Well, he made a fortune picking the top in 1929, and he also went broke a couple other times. So in a way, it is correct. But then he got all his fortune back and paid off all his debtors again. So it was a technique that worked for him, and I think maybe a lot of his lessons that he learned and he talks about here is like do as I say, don't do as I do type thing, right? Because there's a whole section about market psychology and everything, and controlling emotions and all that stuff, which is important too. So waiting for a trade to kind of finish. So anyway, so yeah, so he basically said if I didn't get somewhere near the beginning of the move, and the reason that I missed the backlog of profit, which is very necessary to provide the courage and patience to sit through a move until the end comes, and to stay through any minor reactions or rallies, which are bound to occur from time to time before the movements had completed its course. So the reason is that I missed the backlog of profit. So that is basically it. So he kind of caught it in the beginning and kind of held through it, right? So this big thing that he's talking about is these minor reactions and minor or rallies, right, which are bound to occur from time to time. Right, so those are kind of like the big things, right? So we talked about this earlier. It's kind of a quick review. Jesse Livermore would look for the following signs. So at the beginning of the move, right, there should be unusually large volume of shares traded, right? We talked about that. So when things start going, right, we need some, some big move on volume, right? Prices should move generally in one direction, upward or downwards for a few days. Okay, so what he's talking about, so upwards is in an uptrend, downwards in a downtrend, right? And so what he wants this thing to move, like so Roku, right? It is moving upwards generally in one direction, right, for sure. Okay, so a normal reaction should be observed. Volume will decrease compared to the volumes observed during the initial trend, and the price may move against the trend somewhat. Okay, so that's a pullback, right? He's talking about pullbacks right there. On low volume, pullbacks on low volume are okay. Within a day or two, the normal reaction volume should increase again, and the price trend should be resumed. So again, he's saying, and once that little pullback happens on low volume, more volume should increase as it goes back up. And provided this pattern is repeated, it is safe to stick with the trade. If there should be a deviation in the pattern, it's a warning sign. If the pattern fails and the price moves against a trend by more than a little, it is a sign to exit your trade and preserve your profit. Okay, great website here. It's in the description. A lot of the stuff is from that. So the pivotal points, basically, I'm just going to kind of summarize this. I'm not going to read through all this stuff. But what he's saying is that it's basically the stuff we already know. They're pivot points, right? Pivotal points are pivot points, right? They're key levels, right? Tests of two key levels. And so once a stock has broken out of a trading range, such as the stock below, which is broken downwards, Livermore would begin trading. In this case, the breakout is downwards, so Livermore would sell the stock short. Okay. So that is the summary of this stuff. So let's take a look at it on the chart real quick. Just kind of go over it one more time. So let's go back to our wonderful chart right here. And unfortunately, SPX doesn't show a volume, right? But you can do that with SPY. But let's take a look at Roku. Let's go back to Roku here. And so, a couple questions, right, could be like, what happens here, on the intraday time frame. Obviously, there's always room, upward, right, or at the open, right, for a move, right? So if we take a look here, let me just make sure that this is coming through on the viewer. Okay, yeah, so here's Roku, right? This thing's been a huge mover, right? I'm just looking at the 5-minute chart right now on Roku. But, if we look here, right, we have a lot of volume coming here at the open right now. We do always see a lot of volume at the open, but that was all buying right there, right? Volume kind of dropped off as it kind of came back down, right? We had a little increase of volume on this move right here, right? And then, this move up didn't have as much volume, right? But big volume in the beginning, which means there were some buyers up there, right? So these small deviations, right? These small, decreases in volume as price pulled back for us as day traders is nasty, right? But in general, in terms of long-term charts, right? These, we expect that. We expect those type of moves, right? So, as we kind of look here, right? A lot of these big moves up, the pushes up, have been on big gaps, right? So you can see here, right? Big gap right there, but huge volume on this one. This really got things started, right? And we had some volume this time here on this, on this gap down, but this one, huge spike in volume right here. So that got things going, right? So a little bit of kind of like a choppy consolidation of volume kind of coming. Oh, big move up. Look at that. Big move up there. Huge volume, right? Then it kind of chop by a little volume come down, right? Kind of just coming out. Oh, big volume on that gap up, right? Big volume there. Oh, and that just kind of continued up for a little bit. You had a nice spike in volume on that down move right there, but then just kind of drifted, started to get some increased volume right here. So it started to act like a little bit funny. So, but then it kind of like gave a little earnings right there. And then you had huge volume, and that will show this wasn't over yet, right? Gap and go, right? Nice trade here, by the way, right? Then it really was started continuing again. This move here, this down move, look at that. You can see the decrease in volume right here. See this? That's decreasing volume as it's kind of going there. A little bit of a move, and then increase in volume as we're going back up, right? So this is really good, right? Decrease in volume here as it's going down. increase in volume is good, right? So you can see this thing is obviously a good one to look for natural reaction. So is this a natural reaction here? Yeah. Did we short this and make some money off of that? We sure did. But look at that. The volume was decreasing on this move. That means that, even though there's a little bit of a spike right here, look at that. Less volume, less volume, less volume on this little bit of a pullback right there. And then volume starts going up and up and up as we're starting to move up, right? And look at that. Even today, more volume than earnings. I mean, just huge stuff. People are piling into this thing, right? And we finished almost at the all-time highs today. So, I mean, Roku is just a great example of this thing, right? So we could say like little pullbacks right here, but look, what do you say? Like up for one, a couple days, right? That's what we had, up for a couple days, here, up for a couple, oh, big volume right here. So, do I expect Roku to pull back a little bit, have a natural reaction? I do. Do I expect it, would I expect it to, pull back on less volume? I would, right? And so now if it does, if it really snaps back and the volume goes over this level right here, then things are going to change, right? That's the time, if you're long right now, probably time to, look to take some profit, right? So for right now, Roku is still following trend, right? Still following this trend line up. And to me, this looks like a good Livermore stock. This seems to be one that, on each of these big, he'd probably be adding on a position right here. And, honestly, he never added here. He would add here. Okay. So he had a big volume day right here. He would buy here. He would deal with the pullback, but he wouldn't average down. Right. And then we gapped up again. He'd put more money in it. Right. He'd buy some more until something was different. Right. So he'd continue to average up. Right. He got a little bit of a pullback right here. As long as the volume was decreasing, it wasn't showing anything weird. He's good. Right. Once it broke over this key level, and this is the pivotal point, and this is the levels I wanted to talk about real quick. What he does is he sees, look, right here, this is where he would have gotten really concerned. Okay, so here's your pivotal point right here. And I'm sorry I skipped over it a little bit, but I was just kind of mentioning that. But here was your pivot point right here, and then he would call this a pivotal point if it had some area of interest later, and it sure did right here. So here's what he would do. This is what he would do. Okay, so clearly this is an important point. We got to it again here. We came off of it, right? It showed that this was resistance right here. This would be a very concerning bar for him. And volume even went up that day too. So he would look at this and be like, okay, I'm at the same level. If this continues to the downside, right, I will sell my position. Because remember, he likes to add on these big volume moves up. So if it pulls back, I will sell my position. But what did it do? It held trend. In fact, it created trend with this one, right? Because it put basically a new high right here. And then we ended up shifting the trend line the next day. So once it decided to break back above this pivotal point right here, right, this day, once we broke above here, right, nice little move right here, he started to add, right? Like, look at that, even had volume right here. So start to add right here. Nice little inside day, like a little bit of red day, lower volume. Okay, add to the position a little bit on a break of that inside day up. Yep, good. Adding, awesome. Huge day right here, big move up on increased volume. He's buying, right? He's buying right here. So I mean, keep in mind, this guy is in, this guy is in from here, right? Chills with the pullback, no big deal, right? Nothing's out of the ordinary. Decreased volume, all good. Up, big gap up. I'm adding, right? Oh, a little bit of a pullback, a little bit of pullback. Pivotal point. If it goes back down, I'm out, and I might even start shorting it, right? But nope, couldn't do it. Broke above it. All right, this one, I got increased volume. I'm moving up again. I'm adding. This guy's adding the position the entire way up. You can see how that could work, right? And how that method worked, and why this guy made so much money on these big moves, right? So anyway, kind of cool stuff. All right, good. Well, I hope you guys found that helpful. At this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to play those in the chat window. I'll get through as many as we can. Try to wrap up before 10:30 here. Let me post Shirley's stocks too, because Shirley emailed me. Let's see, there we go. Okay, good. Eric, how's it going? Good evening. I hope everything is going well. Alpesh, hello. Paul, hey there. Manoj, what's going on? Good evening. Hello. SMDC4S, China and US to hold talks in early October in WADC. That's what I'm talking about. Experience and thoughts. Hello, folks. Good to see you, man. Sarah, good evening. Enjoy Life Apparel. Hello, all. SMDC4S. ES is plus 19.5. Awesome. Wendy, good morning. Good to see you. Experience and thoughts. China and USA to meet in October for trade deal. That's right. LOL. NetPry. Hello, everyone. Futures above the 50 MA. Enjoy the party. It's party time. 50 MA time. It's NetPry time. Experience and thoughts. They might spook the markets around. I know, right? Woo. Let's catch you having fun tonight. S&D Spurs experience. Who cares if the real ES is up 23? Now we have believers. All that matters. Right. Exactly. Session. Cyber. Daily. RSI. Divergence. Let's take a look. CYBER. CYBER. SIPA AUK. Let's take a look here. You said daily? Here we go. So RSI. So we're moving down, right? Downtrending. Oh, we're starting to reverse. We have a lower low here, but we have a higher low here on RSI. So yes, so some bullish divergence here on cyber. Looking pretty good. Little flat right there. A little kind of like Northern Doji type situation, right? A little dragonfly situation, but possible move right over today's highs could start to work. I like it because this downward trend line right here, right? This is your minor pivot level here. The high is 114. So over 115, right? Over 115 on cyber could be interesting. Very, very interesting. BA. Let's take a look. BA with a big day today. Nasty gap down yesterday. Yeah, but BA really moved today. Let's take a look here. Let's clear some of that stuff off. All right. Yeah. So Boeing, right? Big gap down here. Really tricky stuff at this point, right? We kind of have this high here. So this was the kind of the upward trend line that I was working on. It was looking great here at the cloud. It gapped down below, gave a minor pivot. So basically the real concern is below yesterday's lows. Here we could work, right? We could work with this. We try to work our way to the cloud, try to follow this, get back on this trend line and start working our way up. If we could put a new relative high over this level, then we could shift that trend line up and the trend would continue, right? So that is cool. Okta. Little topping tail off of the mid Bollinger Band here on the daily, so just keep that in mind. Had some interesting earnings, big kind of a big reversal off. I thought the earnings were they were better than expected. Would have been nice to have seen a green bar here, but instead give you an inside day, try to break it up. Now it's just not getting over that mid Bollinger Band. So we'll look for some more consolidation right here. Maybe like some news or an upgrade will come out, get it out of the cloud. Team. Oh, team. Gosh, team's getting beat up here, huh? So we had this channel that we were working on for a while. We've broken out of the channel, so that shows a trend change, guys. Ask Paul. This is when you break out of a trend, right? Usually, if you're in a channel right there, typically that's an impulsive wave, right? So I don't know. We'd have to do some sort of wave count, maybe 1, 2, 3, it's probably wave 3, and maybe we're working on some sort of wave 4. So maybe a B back up off of the pitchfork level, and then watch the wave C back down, right? This looks pretty impulsive too. So just be careful with this one. It's good 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5. It could be done with the 5th wave down at the pitchfork. If not, right, we might see, if it is, then we might see an A, B, C up for a wave B, and then watch for a sharp move down after that into earnings, right? And then earnings might be good, and then it'll be able to salvage itself. Tesla. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so Tesla was interesting today, right? So they had some news come out. I can't remember. It was like Electric Magazine, whatever that one. The one news that always the one place that always reports on Tesla, they had some sort of negative thing about them today. And this thing, Tesla providing clean energy to places. It was somewhere dip falling. Estimated August 3 model sales results. Yeah, so Model 3 sales results. Driver's hands on wheel and Tesla Model in city crash. So yeah, it had some bad news today, and it really pushed it down. And what it did is it filled that gap that it had not only today, but also from the other day. And it's also starting to push down below the cloud. Now there's an open gap below too. So Tesla is looking really weak right now, guys. And in fact, if it breaks below today's low, right, we had this here, right? It already broke below this minor pivot right here. Another push below this low right here could send it filling this gap right here and even testing these 210 lows right now. So they need to come up with something, right? Alfredo, what's happening? Good to see you. Heather, good evening. S-Bucks and Facebook. Buy the drip, everybody. Buy the drip with Starbucks. Goodness gracious. Beautiful. And they gave bad numbers, say, oh yeah, our outlook is bad. Yeah, we don't care, you're going to 200, right? So it's working its way up. It really is trying. Big move up on earnings, right? Been chopping around here, since earnings. a couple swing opportunities to catch on it. But this move down here today was actually really, really nice. Good volume came in, nice green bar, right? Closed over its 15 orb low from earnings. This, I honestly should have taken this as a swing myself. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that to the game plan for tomorrow. So it's a nice one there. I like that. All right, let me put that here. And tomorrow is Thursday already, if you guys can believe it. Let's see. So we like Starbucks long. We like cyber short, unless it's done. And then we had a bunch of 15 orders today. So yeah, so Starbucks is looking really good. Let's see what the other one looks like. Give it a sec. Okay. Facebook. I really like Facebook. Everything's probably pretty good. Oh, why did I do B? Is that like Barnes Group? Is that it? Okay, so Facebook is looking pretty good right here. Let's see what it looks like. Here's our trend line, right? Here's a this is the lower. This is your minor pivot right here. So we've closed above that lower minor pivot. This is a second minor pivot right here, and we closed above that as well. So pretty bullish right here, right? It could start to work its way out of the cloud. It does have a couple of gaps below, but it had a weekly gap below for a long time too before it filled that one. So it might start to work its way up and try to get out of the cloud. So that would be very interesting. Shirley stocks, ASML. Ooh, yeah, sure. You always find these great ones that are like kind of moving and breaking out and all that stuff. So that is looking pretty decent there. So, obviously had a nice, kind of trend line break right here. Here's your minor pivot, gapped above it, another minor pivot right here, and closed above that today. So very much like Facebook, except this one's already out of the cloud. AYX. Oh wow, this thing is just a channel up all the way. Looks like we looked at this one in the past. We have an old trend line on that back there. But, for the most part, let's zoom out a little bit, see. Here. Nice channel on this one, really. So it's just kind of in the middle of the channel, Shirley. So just watch here. Again, your level's usually pretty good. So just watch for potential pullback, right? But, it also could work its way up the channel, right? In general, it's a bullish formation. GDX. Gold miners still looking good. I tell you guys, someone was asking me the other day, is it okay to short, short silver or short something right now? And it's like, well, while volatility is still high, right? These things are still working, right? This is a great volatility, protection play right here. So these are all doing really well. If you look at the VIX, if you guys have seen the 3-minute video on the VIX, we're below the cloud, but we're not out of the woods, right? The implied volatility is still high. Let's see where it's at right now. We do have a nice move down today. Now tomorrow could be a different story. If we gap up huge, like it's possible. Pull up in volatility right here, there. Okay, so we're getting close. 0.97. We're under 1. If we can get under 0.90, right, the market could really start going. So definitely be careful, Shirley, if that happens. Okay, so keep an eye on those, gold type things. Okay, the precious metals. Just watch those for a little bit. Okay, if that volatility goes down. They might go with it. It's a good volatility play. Let's take a look here. MU is, let's go to the other chart here. No, it's still got a lot of stuff on it. Let's go to this chart right here. Oh, it's still got a lot of stuff on it. Let's clear it out. All right, there we go. So MU, big high here. Pivot, quick breakdown there. Here, minor. These are the minor pivot levels. And it's interesting, the minor pivot levels are also the volumetric levels, right? So we want to push up there. We gapped above it here. So as long as it holds, 45, 50, right, it could still be constructive. Just can't stand trading MU. INTC. Very nice move there, Shirley. Big push through, see this volume profile right here as it's coming around. Big push out of that. Big push over this minor pivot right here. Very, very strong into this. If it gets over that 50 level, right, it could really continue to work its way up to the earnings levels. So that looks good. Paul, AIG on fire. Nice. AIG. Look at this old trend line we had right here. Look at that. Activate. I think that trend line is still good. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Trend line is still good from way back, from back in December. So, yeah, basically just pull back to the trend line right here and still working its way up. Paul, very nice. I like it a lot. Dennis, what's happening? Good to see you, man. Howdy. INMD, in mid. Let's take a look. Let's take a looky look. In mode. Integramed. Wow. One of the first, look at that, had a double inside day right here. And then, started to pop its way out. Nice double inside day swing right there. Ying, just like that, right? Then consolidation, right? A little bit of, bit of a bull flag, Bennett, right? And then back up. So up to 25.85. So again, those keys, obviously it's at its all-time highs right now. So we can get over these volume levels right here, right? And start to get constructive again. It looks really interesting. A lot of times these give us interesting wave counts too. This could be 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, 5. Just careful if 5 is over here, but it might need a little bit more room than that. So maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 could start working its way up a little bit, and then look for a corrective wave, and then possibly a continuation there. Manoj SQ, let's take a look. Cool. Yeah. Gosh. Square. Why? It's so brutal. I think they had an upgrade today, and I think it did nothing. Or it was either today or yesterday. It is still holding these volumetric levels. So just see how well those hold. This is kind of like the leasing trend right there. It's kind of got a mini uptrend. Really, honestly, it's got to get over this level here. This 64. If you get over 64, it might start to work its way up, possibly to test, those that earnings gap. Let's keep an eye on that. Wendy, WDC. Yeah, nice upgrade on this one today. Gosh, it was so tough to take anything long yesterday. And then, WDC did this thing yesterday. It did this thing. This whole thing where it just ramped up into the close, and it was like, it was on the radar. I had an upgrade yesterday, and it was like just kind of this choppy upgrade, so we kind of had our eyes on it, and then like out of nowhere it just goes into the close. Like, what? And then it does this. I mean, just like head fake after head fake, and then it gaps up huge, right? So but that big ramp there was pretty strong, lots of volume coming in and all that, and then nice gap up today, and then just can't seem to hold it. So tough to say on WDC. Let's take a look at the daily here. Big topping tail today. Obviously, we just kind of saw that big gap below now. So just be careful of that gap below with WDC. But if we're gapping up again tomorrow with the market, this thing could try it again. Just just be careful with it. That's all on that one. And then lift. Okay. Let's take a look here. Low there. Okay, so lift, Wendy, is still downtrending, right? Which really stinks but it is what it is. Kind of downtrending right here. So just look and just kind of keep an eye on it and see if it makes a breakout over this. And if it does, look for a minor pivot and then a work up. But other than that, the trend is down until proven otherwise, right? And then Amazon. Amazing Amazon. Let's take a look. So overall from up here, so this is probably a pretty good one right here, right? So you have this kind of trend thing going on there. But, main thing with Amazon right now is like it had this nice minor pivot right here. It got above it today, but it didn't get any legs. So one thing it might be doing here is just kind of consolidate. See how it kind of consolidated here and then push down? Let's see if this consolidates here and pushes up. If these futures, kind of stay as good as it seems they are, right? Oh gosh, they're up 30 points right now. If they're as good as they seem they are, yeah. If they're as good as they seem they are, like this thing could probably run tomorrow. So good stuff. Nice. All right. I am losing my position right here. Sorry. Cool. Good ones, Wendy. Choco, how's it going? I'm gonna put lift on the short radar, Wendy, too. Put that on there. And we'll put Amazon on the long radar. Thank you, Wendy. Okay. Choco, what's going on? So what do I consider minor pivot for the trend line? So that is an awesome question. I really appreciate that. So I would, I'm going to put a link in here, right, to my, my video on that. Give me 1 second. Let me pull that up here, but I'll talk about it too. Just give me a sec. Please move. Give me a second. No, I'm not trying to share it. I'm trying to do this here. No, why is it doing this? Why is this doing this to me? Ah! Give me 1 second, guys. I have to manually do it here. There we go. I think I found it. This should be the 3-minute video on trend lines. So definitely check that out. It gets really thorough, in a compact amount of time, but I'll try to review it right here. So the way we draw trend lines, right? And this is actually from Trader Vic. If anybody's read his book, Methods of a Wall Street Master, I mean, just incredible stuff, right? And so what we look for is for changes of trend, right, is a break of a trend line, right? And so a couple things we do here is we start with a minor low, right, or we start with a relative low, and then we go to the relative high, right? And then we find the next level below that doesn't intersect any other levels, and that would be right there, okay? So I go to the high, I go from low to high, I go to this level right here, and there we go, okay? And then to illustrate the minor pivot, what I do is I put a box around it, right? So so you can kind of see. So this level right here was that first breakdown level, and that created a minor pivot right there, right? So I put a box around that, okay? And so you can kind of see this light box right here. And so once we break below there, right, it's a shorting opportunity, right? So it broke down below there and we had a nice move down, right? So that was from 1877, right, down to 1810, a nice 60-point move on Amazon, right? Just from that trend line break, right? And then we kind of moved down, we tested it again, and guess what? It couldn't hold this area, it couldn't get above this box, right? So in other words, by not being able to get out of this box, we couldn't shift that trend line into an upward trend again, right? So once it broke that back down out of that box again, right, we pushed down. That's why I always talk about minor pivots, right? And so from there, that was a shorting area from 1878 down to 1677. And so this is what Livermore was looking for, right? So he would look for these changes where he had some, something different going on, right? So here we had a little bit of volume. It was a drop in volume, but here it was a little bit different, right? Volume went up. And this day where it broke down, it went up again. And this day where it pushed down even farther, it went down again, right? So the shot across the bow was this pivot bar right here, right, with the increase in volume. And so if it broke down there, Livermore might have gotten short, or at least covered or at least sold his position out, right? Things like to retest levels. So when it came back here, right, got another volumetric level, and then it went down again, but this time from 1875 all the way down to 1670. So a nice 100-point down move on Amazon. So you see how powerful this is, right? And then, you can do it any other direction you want to. You can do it from here, so this could be your minor pivot right here to your lows, right? And then you go to the next level right here, okay? So you give you a minor pivot right here, and then could go up. But then you could do it a little bit shorter relative time frames here and here. And this actually forms what's called a bump and run. This is an inverted bump and run, right? Because it's to the long side. So this proved to be, right, your minor pivot level right here. So you draw a box around that, right? And a lot of times we just do these in our heads now, but it's just one way to kind of see it, right? So you have your box right here. So once you break over that, you could look to go along. And we did, we gapped up, right? It was like I was, kicking bar right there, except that wasn't down. But, big move up there. And so Livermore would have gone up on this, especially if volume is going up, right? And it did. So volume went up here. It's like, okay, this is looking buyer an opportunity. Does a little minor pullback right here, no big deal, right? Little pullback right here on lower volume, no big deal, right? And then finally increase in volume right here, right? Nice move, right? And then we had this trend line here. And you go here, start your trend line again, up, cross, then you draw your box right here to here to here. Now you've got a minor pivot right there. Now look what happened. So the minor pivot was created, but it didn't get below that for 1, 2. That's why we monitor these things so much, right? Every day we're like, okay, well, how close are we getting down below this minor pivot? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and then we gap down below it. Okay, so we were in the danger zone, right? We were already down, right? I mean, this is actually technically already this minor pivot right here. Right? We really could have done that, but this was kind of the next minor right here. And so once we got below that, it's go time, right? We had increased volume right there. It's time to put in a short position, right? A swing short position. And that is exactly where he would have done it, right? And here Bezos is on vacation, right? Traveling around. So we're at 1943 and it goes on to 1747, guys, 200-point down move, right? Just on these trend lines. Incredible stuff. It really is, right? And using these Livermore techniques too with volume and breaking these, really, really helps. So, I hope you guys are assimilating all this and it helps your trading, right? So that's what I mean. That's what I consider a minor pivot. Check it out. All good stuff. Good. Well, great discussion tonight, guys. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Awesome chart requests. Stay tuned tomorrow. Will be the conclusion of the Livermore series. And guys, I am really excited. Tomorrow, I'm going to give you guys a sneak preview of who our guest is going to be this Sunday. It's going to be, I'm really, really excited about it. So, and then after we do the show, I'm going to start advertising for it. I mean, it's really, really exciting. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a good one. So, so stay tuned to that for this Sunday evening. It's going to be at 8 o'clock instead of 9:30. Because sometimes our special guests need special times, right? right? Because it is kind of late over here. So stay tuned. It's going to be awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Definitely check out the links in the description, and have a great rest of your evening. And remember, your risk first and stay safe so you can stay in the game. I'll talk to you guys soon.